Hi guys, welcome back to our channel, the number one place for people who love design, art and all things creative. I'm Jacqueline and I'm an interior architect and designer here at D&B. In today's video, I want to walk you through my interior architecture and design final project. I realise that many of you are probably putting together your final showpieces for your final year at university. Which is why I thought doing a video like this might make you guys feel a bit more at ease, as I'll be walking you through how to do the layout of an architectural presentation board. Or maybe you're watching this video because you're actually just starting this project in your last semester. Either way, I really hope that it's useful. Also, you'll find that my project is a good split of interior design and architecture, which is why I thought it will be useful for both architecture students as well as interior design students. Just in case you're wondering, why is this project so architectural? So if you want to see my design thesis project, let's jump into the video. Now, I think it kind of goes without saying, but don't copy my project. It's here on the internet before anyone else, so people will know if you've copied. And two, it's just kind of pathetic, and let's face it, it's not going to benefit you at all if you do that. And I know it's really hard, but try and not copy a design thesis project in general. Try and create a project that you're passionate about. On YouTube, I see a lot of thesis project topics and ideas videos, which is fine if you want to use them. But personally, I don't really think that you're growing your creative abilities and skills if you just decide to pick a topic from one of them. That's just my opinion, but yeah, don't copy. Okay, so the way I want to do this video is start off with my initial concept and dissertation topic, then discuss how the idea developed and what it turned into in the final project and presentation. And then I'll wrap the video up by showing you additional things that I produce for the project. Okay, so let's start off by explaining what the initial concept pitch was about. We all had to pitch our ideas in the previous semester, and this was my first presentation for this project. And I hope you don't mind, I'm going to skip through some slides because I'm concerned that this video might be like an hour long and I don't want to bore you. But essentially I started off by explaining my position as a designer and what kind of project I wanted to achieve. And at the time I really wanted to create a project that was a mixture of an old building with a new extension, and really just emphasising giving a building a new lease of life through adaptive reuse. And as well as that, I wanted the interior to house fun and memorable experiences, much like the Cité du Vin in Bordeaux, which is a very immersive museum experience. And lastly, I wanted to create something that had a connection to the outside space and really create something that had synergy with the surrounding location. Mainly because I was really interested in public realm at the time. And we were also asked to select a couple of designers whose methods align with our own, in which case I chose Bjarke Ingels because he's my favourite designer, and I actually based my thesis topic off of one of his ideas, hedonistic sustainability. And I have a whole video on that, so I'll link it for you guys at the end in case you're interested. I don't want to bore you with it now because I'm conscious I might make you fall asleep. And I also picked Jan Gehl because I love how he really thinks about how space can alter the way users react in our cities, and most importantly, how to make cities sustainable. He really thinks about the users first and how they determine the space or building, not the other way around where the building influences the user's actions, if that makes sense. Now, moving on to site. I have to admit, I kind of had a location in mind, so these pages before the actual site were really just me reverse engineering why I chose this location. I'll get into the location a bit more in a bit, but really the reason why I chose it was because I was going to be there over the Christmas period, which is when we were required to take photos of the site, do an analysis, and obviously go there and all that kind of stuff. This presentation was really just to get confirmation from our professors of our site choice. The first site, which is where I wanted the project to be, was this gorgeous train station located in La Rochelle, France. Like I said before, I was going to be near La Rochelle for Christmas time anyway, as my parents lived nearby, so it made sense to pick a site in France rather than the UK. Also, I really like the architectural style in France. I wanted the building to have character, you know? And in the UK, a lot of the buildings tend to be industrial, which to be honest is what everyone on my course chose. You know, an industrial warehouse, and I just wanted mine to be different. And because I absolutely loved the first site, I didn't really care about the other option, if I'm being honest, which was the Espace Encontre, which is a fairly new building that's used as an event space, but architecturally it's very bland and it needed a lot of design finesse to make it look good. So going on to users, the users were essentially going to be the student population within the city, the commuters, as it was going to be in a train station, and of course the local community who are in an older age bracket. And this was my initial brief. Emphasis on the word initial, okay, you'll find out in a bit, but the project aims to rejuvenate and develop the southern district in La Rochelle, focusing specifically on either the Gare de La Rochelle or the Espace Encamp buildings. Through the channels of adaptive reuse and architectural remodelling, turning the chosen historic building into a multimodal nexus will link both the southern district to the densely populated northern port. It will give users the chance to move through the exchange for travel, work and leisure. As well as this, it will offer social experiences in both the interior and exterior spaces. The connection between the southern district and the centre of town will be reimagined in order to unify both parts of the city. Take this with a pinch of salt, okay, because this is not what the project ended up to be. Anyway, the feedback was that they didn't really love the train station because it functioned well enough as it is, and overall they said it was just too big of a site. They also wanted the location to be much more in the heart of the city and central rather than far away. And they didn't really love the second site either, which is fine because, to be honest, I didn't. So they wanted me to find a new site over the Christmas period, which was exactly what I did. I found a gorgeous market hall in the heart of the city. I went there, I took photos and all that kind of stuff. We also had to create a design report of our concept which covered my brief, the site, the concept, inspirational case studies, and kind of wrapping up the end with where that would take the design itself. So once we came back from Christmas break, my professors read the book and they didn't like the site again. And in fact, they wanted me to go back to the Espace Encamp building, remember the ugly, boring building? Which I have to admit, I was kind of off about, considering that they told me they didn't want that site because of its location. But you just have to adapt and do what your professors say, right? Anyways, now that the site was picked, I could start focusing on what was really important, the design concept. And thus, Nexus was born. I decided to name the project Nexus as my concept was all about linking the busy and thriving northern part of the city with the kind of boring southern part, and also about connecting two user groups together. So through adaptive reuse and architectural remodelling, turning the chosen building into a multimodal nexus would link both the permanent Rochelaise community with the large student population as well. And the disparity and the disconnect between both groups is really apparent within the city. Therefore, I thought that the Nexus building would give them an opportunity to engage with each other. I really wanted the space to evoke a futuristic atmosphere as the Nexus was going to house innovative and dynamic functions. Because the building was so boring and shapeless, I really wanted to add character in some way as well, to allow users to breathe in the vistas of the surrounding marina, which is why cutouts and playing with translucency was one of my main design moves, in order to create kind of a sense of porosity. I love this connection as well between the map of La Rochelle and a circuit board, which also played a big part in my design, which you'll see in a bit. The circuit board coming from the fact that the University of La Rochelle is renowned for scientific research and technological advancements. This is the site right here, next to the marina, and these are just some more photos of the site. I wanted both the interior and exterior spaces to be changed in order to provide a unique user experience, as well as refreshing the current site near the marina, because to be honest, the outside space was really large but hardly used. The building was to be sectioned into 4 distinct zones that each have an individual purpose: food and social, create and research, chill out spots, and lastly, study and learn. It would give both the users the chance to exchange knowledge, learn, study, eat, relax, socialise, and most importantly, connect with each other. Like I said before, I wanted cutouts to play a major part in my design in order to add interest to the building and allow for more of those water views, and also play with routeways into and outside of the building, as I wanted to incorporate the outside space into this scheme as well. So my first initial move was to create something like this. Lots of interest and really changing the dynamic of the current ballroom building. Anyway, as the idea developed over time, the surrounding routeways into and out of the building played a crucial part. The entrance was on the marina side, and it made it difficult for users to even find how to get into the building. So I decided to play with external routeways and see how users could enter the building by foot and even by bike, which led on to my final concept, which looks something like this. I'll show you my final presentation and design in a sec because it was fine-tuned a little bit, but essentially there was a pedestrian routeway and a transportation routeway. The bridges were supposed to act as an urban intervention and slice through the building and enable people to use the building or simply use it as a transportation route. It's also really important that you know that the University of La Rochelle has a really strong focus on sustainability and clean transportation, which is really important to them and also to me because of my dissertation. So because of their links between science, technology and sustainability, Nexus created the perfect hub for them to share this new stuff with the older population, but also create a place where city residents can go and try out the students' new prototypes. I of course looked up clean transportation as well, on the smaller side as it had to fit on the bridge, and actually Toyota came up with the Mobility for All range, where their transportation systems are shaped for elderly people, cars for wheelchair users, and eco cars for everyone, so this was perfect for my project. And I also find it funny how Bjarke Ingels is now designing a sustainable future city for Toyota themselves, which of course includes lots of different routeways for these types of transportation methods. So come on, give me some love guys, I did it before it was cool. So to sum up, my project was going to be a multimodal centre that connects two distinctive user groups, the permanent Rochelaise community as well as the substantial student population. Besides providing the local community with a social hub, linkage with the prominent student population would allow both user groups to connect. The project aimed to establish a place where both resident and student can learn, socialise, eat and explore things together. Now that I've chewed your ears off with the concept, I think it's time to show you guys my final presentation. So this was my final interior architecture project at university. Just to give you guys some context, this was a 2.5 meter by a meter long sheet, and I also had other documents like sketchbooks, a physical model, blah blah blah, which I'll show you later. So like I kind of said before, the project divulges into advances in technology and next generation clean transportation, which the students research and create at the university. So university research, digital connectivity and innovations in transport all combine to result in a futuristic space with a distinctive sustainable edge. The space allowed students to research in state-of-the-art laboratories and allow locals to test out the prototypes in the exterior space. Let's start off by going over the top left corner. Now in terms of zoning, the ground floor contained the most interactive and social spaces, the book exchange, the research quarter, the dining hall and the tech hub. The first floor then contained the transportation level, so the research lab and the eco station. And the second floor was essentially just a rooftop garden with some seminar spaces as well. And you're probably thinking, what the hell are these spaces, right? The exterior plaza was a place where users weaved amongst a natural environment with views out onto the marina, allowing them opportunities for social interaction and relaxation. The central atrium was where users moved across the dynamic connected transport bridge encased within the extensive glass atrium. The book exchange was where both users are able to recycle their old books via the electric book train, and also acquire new ones through searching on the interactive screens. They are then ready to collect from the zigzagging library with additional spaces to unwind and relax. The research quarter was a communal space where both users are given the opportunity to either work or relax in a focused, calm environment. In the dining hall, the user groups could divulge in a casual dining experience with the choice of 6 different cuisines. The open elongated tables forced both users to socialise and connect amongst a vibrant street food setting. The Tech Hub zone surrounds future innovation and technological advancements. Users were able to explore and interact with the latest electronics displayed on the glass platforms. The exhibition area enables them to receive further information from experts as well as connect with larger scale tech. The Eco Station is almost like a sci-fi space where the latest small-scale prototypes produced by the students are displayed for the public to lease and test out in the exterior plaza. On the other side, state-of-the-art laboratories allow students to research clean future transportation in this semi-private area. In the space, students were able to also examine working prototypes on an advanced scanning system, as well as use additional space to alter the models. In the uppermost part of the building, the Air Pavilion, experts at the forefront of sustainability and technology can deliver talks to the community beneath the solar-panelled shaded pavilion. The roof was also a recreational area that can be enjoyed by both users amidst a tropical oasis. Views overlooking the vast marina and a functioning waterfall feature blend to create a tranquil respite space. In terms of the design concept, it focused on establishing a sense of porosity throughout the building. The use of translucent and transparent facade cutouts was supposed to entice passers-by from the exterior, as well as amplify the vistas overlooking the marina. The central glass atrium allowed an abundance of daylight to enter the space and guide transporters on the winding bridge. The bridge structure functioned as an urban intervention that diagonally slices through the building to provide users with a transport route from one side to the other. With the main motif being technology, the spatial organisation, the bridge structure, interior fixtures all drew inspiration from circuit boards as represented in their form. On the top of the page are planned drawings where you can visually see the circuit board configuration, the connecting bridge, and rooftop garden with connecting bridges over the central atrium space. On the right of the page, I created an exploded axonometric diagram of all the levels. Well, it's actually an isometric diagram, and also just the different levels rendered, just to give a bit more detail. And I have to admit, back then my renders weren't 100% amazing, but you know, we all progress over time. And of course I included a small material palette as well, because it's just what you do. In the bottom section of the banner, I also included all the sustainable aspects of the project, which were of course really important. I wanted to make sure as well that the building followed the hedonistic sustainability methods by making sure that the building was fully self-sustaining. Therefore, it uses natural lighting, solar power, a rainwater collection system that then gets used for the main water supply of the building, which I'll show in more detail in a bit, a green roof, natural airflow, a HVAC system, as well as incorporating wind energy into the mix too, as the Vendée, which is the region in France where the project was, is renowned for high winds. Then I created some diagrams to show how these systems would work. First off being the rainwater collection system. I had this really crazy idea to collect rainwater and then use it as the main water supply, as well as it being disguised as a water feature for the garden. Then just a simple diagram showing the photovoltaic cells on the solar panels, how the green roof would be constructed, and lastly an elevation of the bespoke wind turbines on the side of the building. I also included a section, an elevation of how the building would be illuminated during the evening, and of course the huge section that showcases each level, the winding bridge and views out onto the marina, hence the boat. And I'll very briefly show you guys the other documents that went with the big wall piece that really documented my design process. Of course, I had a physical architectural model as well, where I just wanted to highlight the central atrium and also the water tank feature that I was kind of obsessed with. I also had a sketchbook, and honestly I never took this that seriously, which is kind of stupid of me, but honestly I just never liked the idea of filling up a sketchbook. I love drawing, but I think that I always got overwhelmed with the concept of filling a whole one up. I also created a detailed section of the railing on the bridge, the wrapping, seating and pod fixture in the research quarter, and lastly the seamless glass panelling on the first floor. This was just simply a folder capturing all of my lecture notes, pretty self-explanatory. Then we have the books that record my concept development and all the research that went into the project. One to document my initial idea, and then the second one to explain the new and final concept. There's also a book to document my process on the computer to show how the project developed technically. And of course, another book that combines all my site research and analysis all together. And if anyone's wondering, the front of the book's shape highlights the city of La Rochelle, just in case you're thinking, what the is that? And the last book is an FF&E pack that is an in-depth look at all the material specification in each space, as well as specific furniture choices and reflected ceiling plans. And lastly, I just have this card that summarizes the project. And that's it. If you're new to our channel, I just want to say welcome. On this channel, we talk about interior design, architecture, illustration, content creation, and graphic design. So if any of that interests you, make sure to subscribe to see videos just like this one. And if you made it this far, then well done to you. And thank you so much for watching this video. Put your feet up and relax because you kind of deserve it after watching this. Leave me a laptop emoji down below to let me know that you guys enjoyed this video and learned something new. And if you enjoyed it, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up because by doing that, you really do help our channel. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. I wish you guys, honestly, the biggest luck in the world with your final projects. Just keep pushing through, get it done, and then you can relax and celebrate. But that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.